esteemed judges, our moderators, special invitees, and my fellow superdeans. I am 24-year-old Breeanka West of Georgetown, Guyana. I'm a final year business management student at the University of Guyana and an aspiring business entrepreneur. What do I enjoy doing? Eating, quite honestly. Other than that, helping others and learning new stuff. Social media, like Instagram and Facebook, have become so ingrained in the lives of countless youths. In the world of social media, today's youths are often living their lives in view of an online audience. For those from a different generation, the idea of checking in or updating a status of where you're at might seem bizarre. But for young people today, getting likes or photos, posts, and comments in the virtual world gives us a powerful sense of accomplishment and community acceptance. With the increased number of youths, particularly young girls, being the primary users of such platforms, it is important to ask ourselves whether social media use has an impact on self-esteem. This evening, I will be focusing on the negative effects of self-esteem on young people today, of social media and self-esteem of young people in today's society, Corporate Smith 1967 refers to social media as, and I quote, a person's positive or negative evaluation of self, that is, the extent to which an individual views himself as worthwhile and competent. Whether it's a post on fitness, health, a vacation, a wedding, an anniversary, an accomplishment, or a new baby, these posts, whether directly or indirectly, affect the self-esteem of the viewer, some to a larger extent than the other. It triggers the brain to compare itself against what is being portrayed on social media. Young people who are now discovering themselves and adjusting to the changes in their body, changes in the environment, and everything around them are more prone to these negative effects. In an article in Success magazine written by Jamie Friedlander, he quoted his own personal experience. A year ago, he says, logging into Facebook felt like an emotional roulette. I had just finished graduate school and was hunting for a job in magazine journalism. I regularly opened Facebook to see eager, boastful, sometimes even smug posts from classmates who's been hired by large news outlets such as Business Insider and the Associated Press. As my stomach turned, I would think, why didn't I get the job? My credentials are just as good. If the post came from a person I didn't deem worthy of the impressive position, I would fall into a slump of self-pity, and for the rest of the day, I would be sad. When I saw people who didn't land amazing jobs, I felt an odd sense of satisfaction, which I'm not proud to admit. Sasha, a 16-year-old high school student, says, you see, pretty coffee, pretty girl, pretty cat, pretty beach trip. It's all like everyone is having the best time of their life. According to Donna Wake, founder of Mind-to-Mind Parenting, and I quote, for teenagers, a combined weight of vulnerability, the need for validation, and a desire to compare themselves with peers, forms and describes what she describes as a perfect storm of self-doubt. She's so thin, her grades are perfect. What a happy couple. I'll never be a school, that skinny, that lucky, successful. Sometimes, says Sasha, looking at friends' face makes you feel like everyone has it together but you. I'll even include myself in this part. I remember last year it was that when I log into Facebook, every time someone is engaged, someone is married, someone is having a baby, and I was like, what happened? Will it bite me? And this led to me logging out of Facebook. Moving on, in a report by the United Kingdom, it was found that social media is the biggest contributor to the large decrease of confidence in teenage girls. The school's health education unit found that in 15-year-old girls reported having, for every 15-year-old girl reported having high self-esteem, another 2 didn't. Overall, just 33% of girls between age 14 and 15 felt good about themselves compared to the 41% in 2007. More than half the boys between 14 to 15 were found to have the highest level of self-esteem, the article said. Girls rank the way you looked as their bigger concern, beating schoolwork, family, and money issues. After a recent spate of college suicides, researchers at Stanford University coined the phrase "dog syndrome." The term refers to the way a dog appears to glide effortlessly across a pond while below the surface its feet is working frantically, invisibly, struggling to stay afloat. Several students who have died had projected a perfect image on social media. Their feed seemed packed with inspirational quotes and filtered images showing attractive, happy kids who seemed to excel with minimal effort. But behind the digital curtain, they were struggling emotionally. The upward comparisons made using social media network sites have caused people to have lower self-esteem. In order to test this hypothesis, 150 students from the Institute of Business Management were surveyed through questionnaires and interviews. This research was limited to IBM and Facebook, being the most popular social networking site used to represent social media. The major findings suggested that approximately 88% of young people engage in making social comparisons on Facebook, and out of the 88%, 98% of the comparisons are upward social comparisons. Further, this research proves that there is a strong relationship between social media and esteem. Increasing social media usage causes the self-esteem of individuals to decrease. 1 hour on Facebook daily results in 5.57 decrease in the self-esteem score of an individual. How can we help this problem, you may ask? Simple solutions. I've listed a few simple solutions. For example, taking social media seriously. For an adult or an older person, it might be easy for them to decipher between real world and social media reality. For young people, this might not be the same. So taking time out to ensure that young people, even young adults, understand the difference, I think it's one step towards making this problem, what can I say? Decreasing this problem, Teach them to think outside of the box. Usually on social media, we go on and we see the perfect picture, we see the perfect dish, we see the perfect home, the perfect family, perfect dog, everything is perfect. But as my colleague mentioned, there are filters. What you see is what people want you to see. And so teaching them to think outside of the box is to think that, is this the reality? Is this how your same plate of food looked if you went to buy the same plate of food? No, it wouldn't. Model a healthy response to failure. Maybe you saw a colleague online that would have, soon they got out of school, they got a job. You tried a few times, but you got regretful letters. But, as they say, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. If A didn't work, there's still 25 more. Praise effort. Thank yourself for what you have and for how far you've come. And for families, this solution I've drafted for families to take a social holiday. Because while it is, when we focus on young people and how they're being affected, how their self-esteem are being affected by social media, oftentimes it's not only them that are logged into their phones, logged into their gadgets, it's their parents too, it's those around them. So taking a break, because as we know, or as we say in Guyana, too much of one thing, good for nothing. Trust people and not pictures. When I say that, I mean that it is often that you would go on social media and you would see a picture of someone and you do not know them, and you would compare yourself to them. Compared to if you go and you look at your mother who's unfiltered, who doesn't have another makeup, who doesn't look the way they look on social media, but that's the person that is actually cared, that's the person you can talk with, that's the person that can understand, that's the person that you can trust. Self-worth starts from the inside and not from the out. So I think young people from the youngest age, as long as they can understand, should be taught this, that your self-esteem is not based on what other people may think. It is not based on how you view yourself against someone. Because I've always said, and we know that comparing ourselves against each other are not wise, because there will always be greater and there will always be lesser than us. As I mentioned earlier, I would have had some amount of negative effect from social media on my self-esteem when I would have logged in, and this had led to me deactivating my account. But I had a wake-up call for lack of better words, because there is no timeline set for anyone. There is no rule written down that by 25 you should be married with a kid. There is no rule that at 30 you should have a house. These are just standards made up by society. So I think that these few solutions that I've highlighted, whether it's taking a break, whether it's helping them to differentiate between virtual and reality, whether it's teaching them value and self-worth from the inside and not from the out, or whether it's letting them know that everybody takes their time at getting at their place. I think it all goes a far way in helping the problem that we have in today's society. I'm not saying that self-esteem are not positively influenced in social media, but I think that there is a lot of negative effect and these should not be overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you, Breeanka. Breeanka, what are some of the signs that someone has low self-esteem?
I'll just use myself as an example.
Sure.
Growing up, I suffered with low self-esteem, and I think for me, it is always that. For example, in school, when it's time to do stuff, they will be more confident, I would say, or the girls you deemed pretty, they would always be forward and you would stay back, or some people just thought that you were shy. Also, I think that people that are, I think so, there was one point for me because I had low self-esteem, I thought I wasn't pretty enough. When the picture is being taken, you run away. You stay in the back when you let the pretty girls that you think are pretty, they take the picture. So that's just two examples for me.
Some good signs too. And another one is when you say go and bite. I mean, as you rightly said, there's no real age for that type
there's
of
no
thing.
timeline for it.
Right? So if goat bite you, then a goat living by me. The next question for you. Tell us something that people should not post on social media. Just recently, I've been seeing all types of things. I mean, you all like to talk about the Kardashians and the Jenners. You had Kylie posting these pictures that she was there at Coachella, she just had a baby, and people went in on the girl's social media. Oh God, when they finish, I wonder if she's still alive. The question to you is, are there some things then that we should rethink before we post?
On social media.
Right. Are there
think-
things you should not post on social media?
I think nudes. I think nudes should not be posted on social media. If I go back to my colleague that did body image, and I think you have asked her something along the line. I think that if you have a positive body image, I think that should be something that you accept with the person in the mirror. And you posting a picture that is totally naked, for lack of better words. I think this is just me. I think that you're seeking some form of validation, and this is not you being confident. Because if I'm confident, then I'm confident the person I see in the mirror, I can put on my clothes and I can go out. And I can post a picture clothes because I know at the end of the day, when I strip naked in front of the mirror, I'm confident with the person I see there. I'm satisfied, I'm happy.
Good job.